Yes, good evening, Nigeria. Welcome to today's Politics on Sun TV, where we will try to make sense of some of the decisions made by our leaders in a country where politics is a contact sport, and we are just spectators trying to avoid getting hit. We'll be analyzing the latest moves by our politicians, and it's all about self-interest in most cases. But don't worry, we'll bring the popcorn to make the drama more enjoyable. And today on the show, we'll be discussing the latest twists and turns in Nigerian politics that has to do with the killings, unfortunate killings in Uromi. And we're also going to dive into the rivers to see if we can swim out of it before the end of today's program. Or as we like to call it, it's just another Monday. So buckle up and let's dive into the world of Nigerian politics. And with me to dive into the world of Nigerian politics today is the National President of Mumiri Youth, the coordinator of Northern Taraba Youth Forum, and the first democratically elected student union government president of Taraba State University. He lectures with the Department of English and Literary Studies, Taraba State University, Jalingo, and currently a PhD student with the University of Abuja. He's an activist, a political analyst, and a social crusader. So welcome to the show, Mr. Ezekiel Augustine Amangapto.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Is it okay to call you a comrade? You're a comrade?
Yes, I am. I'm a comrade.
Okay. Yeah, I think I like that nomenclature, comrade, better. You're welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
It's really nice having you today. And how is the public holiday going?
Yeah, thank God. We really appreciate God since we're in good and sound health. And we really thank God for the Salah celebration. I think it's peaceful, and we thank God for that.
Yes, I think it's good to always appreciate peace. There are peace and tranquility around, and it's also a period for people like you to have rest, but we in the media, there's no rest for us. I think this is even the days we work harder because we have to ensure that viewers are there while they are at home relaxing, watch the best of it. So we really appreciate we're calling you out of your public holiday to come and have a wonderful time with us.
It is a pleasure.
Before we go into the Nigerian politics, I would like to know what's your motivation as a student union leader, a lecturer, just your activities around the Ivory Tower. Was this what you set out to do in the first place, to be someone? And I heard you came out first class, if I'm not mistaken.
Really? Yeah. But actually, I wanted to be a lawyer.
Okay.
And unfortunately, or I would say as God will have it, my destiny is to be in the classroom. And I am happy to be there. There are two teachings. Some teach for teaching's sake, while some teach to inspire.
Yeah.
So I teach to inspire.
Okay.
And I find joy in what I'm doing.
You find that is
so I'm very happy to be a comrade because we're out there to stand for the voiceless and also to speak on behalf of them. Okay,
now anyone that looks at your face, the way you're smiling, will think you're easy going. But I've seen situations whereby you negotiate for the students, and with this your smile, you always captivate those you are negotiating with. Is this part of your charm offensive?
Actually,
simple and gentle.
Actually, I was taught by my biologist teacher during my secondary school days that one uses 72 veins when frowning and 2 veins when smiling. So I feel I can be smiling and fight you at the same time. So I don't need to frown my face, but I think most often confrontational is bad. We follow dialogue in fighting for people's right. We ask questions why. Though sometimes if you ask why, it looks offensive. But when you ask it in a very cordial and logical way, you get what you want. That is our principle as comrades.
Okay, so that means I should ask a question in a very logical and simple way. Now, this still brings me to, we're still on you, we'll go into the matters of the day, but it's always good when we have people who can inspire young people come up here. You are the National President of Mumuye Youth and Coordinator of Northern Taraba Youth Forum. How has it been being the national president of the Mumuye Youth? Because I know it is not easy coordinating youth at any level.
Yeah, you know, youth are the most delicate group of people in the society. That youthful, exuberant, they will be ready to do whatever they feel they can do. And within the youth, you know, as a leader, you will face the good, the bad, and the ugly. Yeah. And as a leader, you must learn how to go with all, carrying them all together, understanding them, and making sure you are there for them when they need you is very, very important. As the national president of the Mumuye Youth, it is quite challenging because you are dealing with a very good number of youths with diverse ideologies, thinking, way of life, and even exposure. Yes. What you may be thinking it is right to someone may be viewing it in a different way. Yeah. But what you're supposed to do as a leader, try your best. Nobody is 100. Yeah. You try your best and leave the rest for God to judge. That's what we are doing. I
like that. You try your best and leave the rest. And I think with this introduction, I believe my viewer out there will be looking up to hear your views on the issues. So today we are going to basically discuss our two topics of discussion, two trending political stories. One has to do with the unfortunate killings in Uromi, Edo State. We'll touch on that later in the course of the program. We also dive into Rivers State to see what is happening right now in Rivers. But let's start with the Uromi killings that refers to the brutal murder of 16 hunters from the north in Uromi, Edo State, Nigeria. The victims were mistaken for kidnappers and were lynched by a mob after being stopped by local vigilantes. These vigilantes have discovered den guns, traditional firearms used for hunting in the victim's vehicle, which fueled suspicion and unrest among bystanders. The incident has sparked a widespread outrage and condemnation, with many calling for justice and accountability. The Edo State Police Command has so far arrested 14 suspects in connection with the killings, while the Edo State government has also condemned the incident, and Governor Monday Okpebholo has taken steps to ensure that those responsible are brought to book. The incident has also raised concerns about the security situation in Nigeria and the need for greater trust and understanding between different communities. Those People's Congress has cautioned their leaders against making threats and urged them to work towards finding a solution to the insecurity challenges facing the country. This is quite unfortunate. Comrade Ezekiel, what's your take on all this?
Actually, it's quite devastating, and it's quite unfortunate that today we are in a country where even the citizens are not free to move, and they are not free to exercise their freedom and right as citizens of this country. It is quite unfortunate. And honestly, when I saw the video clip on social media, I felt bad. And even if they committed a crime, I don't think they're supposed to be treated like that, because there is a law. This is a nation that is guided by a law, and they are expected to be handed over to the security agencies, not taking laws into your hands and resulting into this gruesome murder.
Now, do you think, I'm not trying to raise justifications or anything, with the current security situations in the country, I think what advice we advise people about moving about with anything that has to do with weapons or war?
Yes, actually, if you look at the scenario, it's quite contradicting. Yes, it will be suspective in the sense that these are a group of hunters. Where are they coming from? Was there any function in Edo.
No, they said they are hunters in Port Harcourt,
yes.
So they were going for some.
Hunters in Port Harcourt doing what in Port Harcourt? That is one of the challenges you're supposed to look at the story and the view you have to give to the story. If they are hunters, obviously I believe from the stories they are there for their personal work, working places at the various homes, maybe for security and what have you. They decided to come together back home. And I believe they must have their own means of identifications,
yes,
which will identify them as hunters. But if you look at it, was there any issue? Why were they attacked? Who attacked them? These are the issues that one has to look into it before arriving at the logical conclusions. And not only that, if you look at the statement of the government, you discover the government are claiming that those people are unknown vigilante.
Yes, that they were not registered vigilante groups.
Now, and if you look at the situation, you get to know that already Edo as a state has a security corps.
Yes, yes.
If there is a security corps, then what is the need for vigilante again? I think the duty of the security corps is to cover those areas the vigilante are covering. So by implication, those people are not even vigilantes. They're just some group of hoodlums who attacked innocent Nigerians and killed them. If you have to critically look at it that way. Because the government has made a statement that they are not registered. They are not known. So they are not even an organization. Yes. They don't have a means of identification. Why attacking people? At what capacity? And on what ground?
Well, there are some that are of the opinion that probably because of the, like if you look at a country of over 250 million Nigerians, and you have less than 300,000 police that will man this country. So we know that yes, the police is short-staffed, and we also have a situation whereby due to the incessant kidnapping in that area and other parts of this thing, people have been going for self-help, community vigilantes, and even on my street, we do our own little. Sometimes when those boys come around, okay, maybe for a day or 2 or 3, we do some patrol on our own. I think that is how this ubiquitous vigilantes began to appear everywhere. Because if you're traveling from the north to the south, you find out that at every community, especially areas where you will find some form of vigilantes, whether they're registered or not, but you find young people.
But I'm not challenging their existence.
Yes.
Community policing is okay and is allowed.
Yeah.
But does that give them the right to kill somebody?
No.
That is where the question is. Yes, if they are there for community policing and they discovered this, there are suspected elements in the community, what they are supposed to do is to hand them over to the security agencies, not taking the law into their hands. And from the report of some of the clips we received from, I think, the secretary to the Traders Association, the Modern Traders Association there in Urumi, he claimed that report reached him earlier before they started the action. He arrived the scene of the event. Even 3 of them were killed in his presence. He made concerted effort to link up with the police command, area command of that particular Urumi. It proved abortive. He made concerted effort until after the incidents, before the police arrived at the scene of the event. And that is an action that took place over 2 to 3 hours.
Yes.
So if we were to talk about it on the side of the security agency, I think there are laxities.
Yes.
Not only on the part of the police. What happened to the cops? If really Edo State has a corps, security corps, that are responsible for community policing, I think before the arrival of the police to that scene, there should be members of that corps there. So if you critically look at it, it's like a calculated plan, because the community were there watching what is happening, and human beings are killed like animals, and nobody is saying anything until after the action, before issues of community policing are there and the police officers came around, which is quite unfortunate.
Well, some people have the opinion that maybe fear of the mob made those community police, the registers want to stay away. Because I've seen situations whereby, I'm not trying to, situations whereby you see when the mob begins to do that, the murderous action of this mob action. I see situations whereby even the police will try to rescue them, they descend on the police and even in some cases they burn down police stations with the mindset that this is justice must be gotten immediately. And I think that culture, there's a need to stem that culture because it's becoming rampant. We've seen cases whereby just robbers will be caught and immediately tires will be thrown on them with petrol. I think there's a need for us to look at that culture, that murderous culture, and begin to tackle it from the roots.
You see, Nigerians, we have the culture of taking laws into our hands. Everybody so much believe that he can do and undo. Nothing will happen. The democracy freedom we are having is making us to believe like animals. I'm sorry to use that word. Because why on earth, even if you are doing the policing, the community policing, the question is, are you allowed to kill somebody?
No.
The policing is to get the culprit and hand him or her to the law enforcement agency so that the law, justice will take its course. Not you taking the law into your hand. The first mistake those perpetrators of the evil committed was they took the law into their hands. 2, there is no specific offense committed by this victims of doing. They just stopped the car on the way because they saw them with guns and they decided descending on them. Why not take them hand them over to the security agency to investigate them, since they have the means of identification? I believe had it been they do that, something wouldn't have happened like that.
Yes, definitely.
But unfortunately, they went ahead to take the laws into their hands, and in fact, even the villagers were celebrating.
That was quite sad.
They're celebrating.
Sad. I couldn't watch much of the video because I'm not someone that loves to watch such gory videos. But I saw the way I've just watched some parts. I mute it and I blur the video and I listen to the sound. The sound around shows that people were just watching like it's one of those things. But that is by the way. Now, what do you think we need to do? Because this will definitely create tension.
Actually, the steps taken by the government of Edo State is a good step in the right direction because as it is, currently I think he's in Kano,
yes,
to condole with the family and also to meet with the governor of Kano State and to see how they can combat the situation and curtail all those challenges that it may follow. But already there is a report, though it is not formal, that there was a counter-attack from, I think, Kano on a particular vehicle too that is going to the east.
No, I think the sources later proved that it was just an ox. It was the story was false. It was a whole video of a vehicle that was burned down. There was that they say coming from the east, about 18 passengers and need something of that nature.
Yeah, whichever. I think the action taken by Senator Sunday, the governor of Edo State, is in the right direction, yes. And by first suspending the corps security officer, yes. I think the commandant. And secondly, I think even the police officer in charge of that particular division, need to be suspended.
It needs to,
because I can't see a situation where a crime will be committed over 3 hours without the notice of the police, and no police officer came to the rescue of these people until the end of the incident. It is quite unfortunate. Yeah, that particular officer need to be investigated too, because I know the police has a highway patrol team. They have even they have different teams for patrols and what have you. They have the joint task force and what have you. I believe if you look at the place, the scene of the event, it is within the town. It is not outside the sketch of a town that you may think before the arrival of the security agencies maybe the
I don't think anywhere around Rome is up to 20 minutes drive. So
yes.
there is no excuse for, I think, the police. This is a dereliction of duty.
Too. Even the security and civil defense officers around that particular command also need to answer some questions on this matter, not only the commandant of the corps. So I applaud the governor of Edo State by taking this, and to the families, yes, we know it is quite unfortunate, it is painful what happens to them, but we Nigerians, we must learn how to look at each other as one, as brothers and sisters. Sure. You see, there is this culture, if you go to the southern part of this country, you will be treated as a foreigner. And likewise, the southerners, if they are in the northern part, they will be treated as foreigners. It is wrong. We share equal right. That you are the native of that environment does not give you right more than the immigrant, so long as he is a Nigerian.
Yes.
We share equal right. He has the right to be voted, to vote and to be voted, even in that environment. He has even the right for chieftaincy, because if you go to Lagos, you see the Sarkin Hausawa and what.
Yes.
If you come to the northern areas, you see the chief of Igbos and what have you. So it is a clear indication that you have the right as a Nigerian citizen to enjoy every part of this country. So we should desist from all this art of looking at a fellow Nigerian like a foreigner. Even he is a foreigner, he is human being. Why killing him like an animal? It is quite unfortunate. So Nigerians need to look into this and consider human beings as God's own creators. We don't need to just kill them anyhow, simply because of our own personal interest, or we want to prove that this is our own land, and what have you.
I think this is a call to Nigerians to ensure that we need to live in peace and unity with one another. The era of self-help when it comes to security should come to an end. And we also ensure the security operators should also ensure that they are proactive in taking action whenever such a murderous action is taking place wherever in any part of the country. And we also appreciate the leaders, both from the north and the south, from Edo, from Kano. They've been preaching peace. The Emir of Kano yesterday also preached peace. He said there should be no form of reprisal attacks or whatever it is, and we also call on religious leaders, community leaders, opinion leaders, political leaders to continue to hammer on the fact that it is better to live in peace, and there should be no reprisal attack of any kind concerning this issue. We believe that justice is going to be served. 14 people have been arrested so far, and I believe just like they say, as they ought, those people, as it is now, every security agency is on its toes to ensure that those guys are arrested.
Well, we hope so. We hope so, because as it is now, if you look at the incident, you know that almost half of the people there, not only the vigilante, I'm very surprised they are mentioning vigilante, because if you look at the incident, it's like the entire community were against the people. So I don't know how the security apparatus they will use in fetching out the culprits. But whichever it is, we are soliciting or calling on the relevant authorities to make sure justice is served to this, to avert from the future occurrence of this. Because when we allow this thing to continue happening, it will come to the point that nobody will visit another person's state.
Yes, and even within the state, it will come to a point where I have issue with you. Yes, I call my people, and it becomes a jungle. That's why they say it's jungle justice.
Yes. Like in the words of Nnamdi Kanu, we are trying to turn our country into a zoo.
Which is wrong. Well, I think that brings us to well, we can wrap up that issue now, but for now we'll move to other issues to discuss today. Just like I keep saying, we are diving into the Rivers State of Nigeria, where right from 1999, the political atmosphere of Rivers is always charged. As a matter of fact, if you check our history, you find out that militancy in the Niger Delta started after the 2003 elections, and information has it that as there was so much arms given to political talks, who after the elections did not return the arms, and they decided to when agitation for better living for Niger Delta, some of those criminal elements took advantage of it, began to do kidnapping, and began to commit crimes with those weapons, and it was the elections in Rivers became very, very charged, and it has been a continuous process. This process of violent elections, handovers, and the rest of it, and it hasn't changed up to now. And now, as it is, a state of emergency has been declared. Let me first of all ask, what is your view on the state of emergency?
To me, following the constitution of this country, though at a point everybody is becoming a constitutional lawyer in Nigeria, you see people interpreting the constitution anyhow. Even the lawyers, you see different versions of interpretations, to a point that I got confused. But I think ideally the state of emergency is good, but suspending the judiciary and the executive arm,
the legislature,
the legislative and the executive arm, that is where the problem is. Because we have experience of state of emergency, like that of Goodluck in 2011 at Adamawa, Gombe, and I think part of Yobe and Maiduguri.
Yes,
the executive council were there, as well as the judiciary and the legislature. But this one suspending a sitting governor, I think that is where the problem is.
But if you look at it, the executive and the legislature were the cause of the state of emergency. They are part of the problem. So if you leave them, there's some people feel that the problem will continue. Actually, in the case of Adama and this state, it was non-state actors that were creating the problem. The governors were not involved in the creation of the problem. But in this case, the legislature and the judiciary have been at loggerhead, and there's no, even despite the Supreme Court ruling, there was no peace in sight. Maybe that was why they had to go, so that peace can return.
You see, if you look at the game, it's a game of interest.
Definitely.
And everybody is trying to protect his interest. My concern is at the cost of protecting the interest, we are bastardizing democracy. We are abusing the rule of law. We are guided by a constitution. And most of these things they are fighting on are spelled out clearly in the constitution. Let's take a closer look at the case. Let's relate it to the case of Taraba State in 9th Assembly. I think 2 members of the House of Assembly were relieved of their duties, and their seat were declared vacant. Yeah. Right Honorable Mark Hussaini and Right Honorable Abel Peter Dia, simply because they defected to another political party. That was the ground. So if you look at it, is the similar issue with that of Rivers. They defected from their political party, and the constitutional provision is that when you defect to another political party, your seat will be declared vacant. Now, if at all today, what happened there in Rivers State, the Supreme Court is saying that these people are the valid members of Rivers State. By implication, Taraba State government is supposed to pay Abel Peter Dia and Mark Hussaini all their emolument.
That's why we call it, they should approach the court.
You understand? Yeah. But we are not trying to ask them to go and do that. We are only relating it to that matter. Yeah. Now, since they have defected, they're supposed to declare their seat vacant.
Now, if I was able to read the judgment of the court, and they harmonized everything together. Now, what the Supreme Court did was this. I'm not a lawyer, but based on the information I got, defection. How do you prove that someone is a member of another party? He must be a registered member of that party. That is the wisdom of the Supreme Court. And I think that will set a precedent for other defections, that for you to defect, you must actually have gone to write to your party that you are no longer a member of that party, and not just mere words of mouth. Because the implication also is this. Someone can also say he's a member of a party. You see what played out in SDP, where they say his name, the name of El-Rufai is not in the register. I think that is what it did. Another thing was that the state government, they pulled out they withdrew the case halfway.
No, you see, the issue there is this. If they are not members of PDP before they defected to APC, how did they become members of the House of Assembly?
No, they were.
Because you must pass through screening, and one of the criteria for screening a candidate in a political party who is vying for a political position under that platform must be membership card.
Yes.
And also payment of dues.
Yes, yes.
I believe they must have passed all these allegations
under PDP.
Yes, before they were allowed to contest. Now, they have publicly declared that they are defecting.
But when they went to court, I think they did not present evidence to show that the evidence was withdrawn. There was a case, that was when they said they withdraw. And the court is this: they don't go shop for evidence for you. This is what you present. So I think from my own opinion, that case was bungled by those that took the case to court. You have to present evidence to the court. The evidence was withdrawn at the last minute. And I think that made the Supreme Court to look at it. There is no evidence to show that they are this. And I don't think even under law that there's just you saying that I've defected makes the defection valid from what the Supreme Court has said now.
Okay, now let's look at it this way. Since they are the problem, and already if truly the presidency want to do justice to the people of Rivers, you see, my concern is the Rivers State and their citizens, because they are the receiving end. All that is happening, they are the receiving end. They have deprived them the right of enjoying the democracy, the dividend of democracy, no development, series of fight for 2 years now, busy fighting for political interests and what have you. Now, if at all the presidency want to do justice to the people of Rivers, is to find another way of solving the matter through dialogue.
But they were presented with an agreement that they all signed, and they reneged on the agreement.
And the point there is, there was a card, a skeleton in the cupboard. In the agreement, there is a plan to impeach the governor.
But he agreed, he signed. No, in the agreement that I saw, the agreement was all impeachment processes should be withdrawn.
Yes.
All commissioners that withdrew or appointees that resigned should be represented. Then again, that the governor, as at then, the House of Assembly has been demolished by the governor.
Yes.
Which is a that is where he shot himself in the foot. Now there was no place for the State Assembly to sit. And the agreement was that, okay, they should come to an agreement where they will sit. Agreement between the legislature and it was a political solution.
Yes.
Which they both reneged on. So that I think because there was the political solution they worked, the president had to take a solution that is outside of their dialogue. But I think, to be fair to the president, he called them and they came to an agreement and they all signed. But when they got back to Rivers, they decided to go their own ways.
Okay, now, if you look at it, it's like you're trying to defend the president.
No, I'm trying to state the fact.
The president remains silent over the matter until when it escalated to the point that is affecting some of the federal institutions and is indirectly affecting the economy.
That is why it's the federal government.
But I feel the government will have taken proactive measures on those things even before arriving to the state of emergency. One. Secondly, the expectation of Nigerians over intervention speech of Mr. President, not state of emergency. He took the nation by surprise, as if there was a plan to do that. That when
he said they got security reports, which we ordinary Nigerians don't have.
All these things, we all know that there is somebody that is playing the game behind the scene, which is their former governor.
Let me come. In all this, to me, I think Wike is the non-issue in this because he holds no political office in Rivers State. The issue is between the legislature and the executive. as far as I'm concerned, Wike has no power whatsoever over the legislature, and except they allow it. Except
the legislatures allow it.
They allowed it.
And the reason there is the first error committed by Governor Fubara was, I think there was from the Rumu. The Rumu has it that there was an agreement between the which it is not known to Nigerians, and we don't want to know it because it's not part of democracy.
Yes,
that is why we always frown at godfatherism in democracy. So, but Wike categorically told the world that if Rivers will allow him to bring Fubara, he promised to allow him work independently.
That is where the mistake is. Why should a governor bring another person? That is where the problem started from.
Yes, that is where the problem started. And he brought him as a stooge so that he will control him, either directly or indirectly. There are things they don't want to tell Nigerians.
Definitely.
Which is behind that prompted to the fight. And if you critically look at it, yes, those legislatures cannot finance the case to the Supreme Court. Yes, we know Rivers State is an state and what have you. But if you look at it, you know that there is a force behind.
But can also, but on a good day, to me, I think we should look at this critically from the beginning.
Okay.
It is a devil's agreement between them.
Yes, yes.
And it is devil's, when you was down with the devil, the result is disaster.
And I think
this will serve as a warning. Fubara was not the most popular candidate.
Yes, yes.
As a matter of fact, I had a case with the EFCC. We can use the state apparatus to shield him.
Yes.
So he can't say he's a saint. He can't say it's for the interest of Rivers, because Rivers people, he was imposed upon the party.
If you look at the democratic trend of Rivers State, most of the governors were brought to the masses.
Yes.
Because if you look at the case of even the Wike himself,
yes,
he was masterminded by Patience and Amechi. I think Amechi or what?
Yes, no, he fell out with Amechi.
Yes,
he fell out with Amechi.
It was masterminded by some people.
By some people.
And him too, he's trying to also do that, and he succeeded in doing it. Only that after some times, Fubara is trying to prove that he knows Wike very well. He knows his weak point, so he can manipulate him. And one thing about Wike is he can go to every shrine and worship to see that he deal with you.
What about Fubara?
To me, I look at the fight as if Fubara is being conscious of the fact that Wike is still his boss. If you look at it, he's not pushing the fight. But
to know someone destroyed the State House of Assembly complex is that very peaceful.
This is one of the mistakes he made. And to me, I consider him too early taking a fight with somebody who brought him. It's like biting the finger that fed him.
Yeah.
That is what happened to him. Because yes, you may dictate some errors with your boss, but what you're supposed to do is to find a way of seeing how you will stop that with time, not now. If possible, you will have at least give him maybe 2 years or more. If possible, the first regime, let him make sure that he got everything within his powers and find a way of ensuring that all the members House of Assembly that will be coming in his second tenure are people that will listen to him before he start acting. So it was too early for him.
But wouldn't that also turn to Fubara also becoming another Wike in the future? Is that not a vicious circle?
If
that's what Wike did.
What Fubara is trying to portray now is he has discovered Wike is manipulating Rivers State and diverting their resources.
So when did he discover this?
Yes, that
was the accountant general of the state.
Yes.
And when Wike was about to be probed, he was the one that went into hiding.
Now you want to do the right thing. So I think that is his thinking. Since he wants to do the right thing, he just feel, okay, let me fall out with my Oga and see how I can develop Rivers State and things catch up with him. Yeah. Honestly, he tried to bite the finger that fed him. Yeah. But and also he started the fight. It was too early for him to start the fight. But I also so much believe that Wike, at his capacity, I think he should have outgrown fighting people like Fubara, because he's a national figure, somebody who once contested for the seat of the presidency. Imagine he won the seat. Will he be fighting his own state governor? So there are things that he should know, that at this age he has outgrown it, and he should.
When you said we've seen Nigerian president fight governors dirty. We've seen President Olusegun.
Yes, I know.
He fought Fayose, the thing is this, you know, our politicians in Nigeria, just like you said, there's a level you get to.
And
you should be an elder statesman.
Yes,
you should be a problem solver, not part of the problem.
Yes.
At this stage, I believe Wike should be someone that when the problem comes up, it should be a fair judge that they will run to.
I think
not be in the middle.
That is why you see people. Yes, you earlier on said that Wike is not part of the fight, but directly he is. If to me he is not, now you brought Fubara, right? And the 27 members of the House.
As a matter of fact, all the members of the House of Assembly, from information, he bought the forms and gave to them.
And he brought them. Now, if there is issue, Wike alone can solve that problem, because he has the power to summon them to his parlor and ask them, what is the matter? Okay, you are wrong at this, you and that, correct this thing. You want to defect. Why? It's too early for you to defect. Even for the members of the House of Assembly, it's too early for them to defect, for goodness sake. You just came in after 2 or 3 months.
Which party is Wike, APC or PDP? APC, DPD?
Actually, we don't know. Because the singlet he is wearing is PDP, but the main shape is APC. So that has been the game he has been playing. So we will see it maybe at the end of, maybe the end of this year, if he will be contesting for something, or if he will be declaring his intentions for something. But to some extent, even APC are so slack in handling some issues. Because you can't be a member of another political party after suffering to bring a government, and you are coming in to overwrite the government we brought out of the party ideologies. Because if you look at his activities, he's not following any party ideology. He's fighting there in the PDP, he's not a member of APC, and he don't belong to any. He's just doing his own ideology. He does what he wants.
But the president gave him good rating when he was rating ministers. And he has been commissioning projects.
Because I think there are...
he has been commissioning projects.
Commissioning project, I don't think that is, even the vice president did not have the privilege and some of the benefits Wike is benefiting from this government. Remember, he is not part of the single treasury account.
Yes, he was moved out of the...
FCT has been moved out of that. By implication, all the revenues generated within the FCT goes directly to his office. So I think the project is on the goal of commissioning. It is not even enough.
Even on the lighter note, the president made some funny remarks during the weekend. He said the election is coming, that APC must win. If Wike's party, PDP, wins in Abuja, he's going to sack him. You know, in a joking manner. He said, you are PDP, we are APC. The good work you are doing to ensure that APC win. If your party win, you know, he just said it jokingly. So everybody was wondering, now Wike is PDP, doing a good work for APC.
But if you look at Abuja, Labour Party won Abuja. Even the senatorial seat.
Yes.
I think the candidate is from Labour Party.
Yes, the senatorial.
So currently Abuja, it is Labour Party. Yeah,
who is the chairman of Labour Party?
The national chairman?
Yes.
I don't know their problem. That
you can see that now the dynamics of 2023 may not play out for Labour Party in 20. Labour Party was just a look at all their members, they've moved to other parties.
Yes, so
even the dynamics may not work again.
Even APC will suffer this.
Yeah, definitely.
Because there are speculations that some of them will move to SDP. Definitely. And there is this rumor that they are planning to register another new political party and what have you. I think Nigeria is supposed to practice democracy, practice American democracy, where we'll have only 2 party systems and before there is nothing like defection. If you look at the American democracy, you hardly find the issue of this one defected to this and that. that because you had an issue with Mr. A, you will leave the party and go to another party, and if your interest is not protected in that party, you move to another party. That one is not democracy. That means you are not having an ideology.
There's no
All
ideology.
your idea is for your own personal
When
interest.
you ask us what is the ideology of Labour Party, PDP, because when you look at the characters, they just move around any trending party. Now they are moving to SDP.
Yes. And imagine those evils they committed in APC. They are coming to tell us that we made mistake that time. Please forgive us. We will correct it. They will make the same mistake. Look at the case of Adam Shomole with his godson,
Obaseki.
He was the one who took him down and told the world that he was an angel.
And Obaseki was saying, "This is my father."
Yes. After some times, he went back to tell the same people of Edo State that I made mistake.
You know, the funny thing is that it was Obaseki and Pastor Izeyamu.
Yes.
He took Obaseki and was telling people Obaseki is the angel, Izeyamu is the devil.
Yeah.
4 years later, now took Izeyamu and said, now Obaseki is the devil. That is the
okay, look at the case
of the ugliness of the
look at El-Rufai. El-Rufai told the world that he will die in APC.
And
simply because that time his interests
was
were
being
protected. And he was one of the leading voices of the APC. And when things fall out of him, he started complaining, shifting blame from Ribado to this and that. At the end of the day, he left. Somebody that said he would rather die in APC. Look at the case of Wike. Wike promised not to align with APC in this life.
He said he will never.
So Nigerian politicians are something else.
Even Peter Obi once said if he leave Abga, he laid a curse on himself to the Odumebu Ojukwu that he will never leave Abga over his dead body. And today he has moved from PDP to Labour. Only God knows where.
These are the issues. If you look at the track record of Atiku and some of the things he said on the PDP, and he never knew that he would come and be the presidential candidate of
PDP again.
So these are some of the issues with our politicians, and they say what they think they can say, and their concern is to win election at that particular point. And after that, whatever happens, that one is none of their business. So Nigerians are not practicing ideological democracy.
Not at all.
We don't believe in ideology. All we believe in is
power sharing
and also personal interest. Look at the case of Donald Trump and Joseph Biden. Yes, Donald Trump discovered there was some electoral fraud in his first election with the second election with Joseph Biden.
Yeah.
But look at the speech. Joe, the handing over speech he left on the table there. Joe, you know I won. Now, if you semantically x-ray this, you know that he knew very well that he was manipulated. But so it is the American ideology that there must be change of power.
But those allegations were not proven by Donald Trump.
Whatever it is, if it were Nigerians, you would have seen somebody in the Supreme Court, all this court. But their ideology is there must be inauguration on the 20th of that particular month and that year. So he has to vacate the office. That is the ideology of Americans.
Yeah.
And look at, okay, when he made pronouncement that they will withdraw all their militaries in Afghanistan before the election. After the election, he lost the election, he vacated the office. When the time he said they will vacate their militaries in Afghanistan reached, Biden did that. And Biden was questioned, why are you doing this when you are not the one and that government has gone? He said, no, Americans believe in what? Ideology. But look at Nigeria. Everybody will come with his own mantra. That is how we kept on destroying our resources. In 1999, Obasanjo came with, let's make Nigeria great again. Think well, act well, say well, and Nigeria will go well. Yes, he brought the Koja, the Tinaipa, globalization of Nigeria economy through the Nikon SAT, and what have you, 16,000 megawatts. Billions of naira were sunk in this project. He brought in his godson, Eradua. What we expect is the continuity of these projects. The Eradua abandoned those projects and took up 7 points agenda. After 2 years, Eradua died. He is running mate. The same ticket of 7-point agenda, change his own to transformation agenda. From transformation agenda, we dive into change agenda. The same gospel propounder of the change agenda went ahead to do next level. And now we're in home afresh. All these billions of naira will be sunk in projects, uncompleted projects. At the end of the day, we picked another this thing. That is how we kept on.
There is no continuity in government.
No continuity in Nigerian democracy. That is the biggest challenge. Continuity is what we're supposed to look at. Okay, if this government is doing, we look at corruption at the level of extortion only, without knowing that abundant lack of maintaining the abundant public structures are also part of corruption.
It is. If you look at the billions of dollars, let me not even use that, because if it's naira, it's trillions of naira that are lying waste on abandoned projects across from the local governments to the state governments to the federal government. You find abandoned projects, you find infrastructures that have been left to waste, and you begin to wonder.
Simply because it is not my administration, so I will not finish it. Look at the issue of Kwara, when Yar'Adua was trying to Kwara.
Is it Songa Mills? No.
That the ship will be packing goods from Lagos.
Okay, the dry port.
Yes, trillions of naira
will be sunk there.
When he left, that was how that project was abandoned. Look at the hydroelectric power here.
Just look at the millions of dollars we have to pay out to Sunrise, a company that was given a shady agreement was made between the minister and a company.
So look at the Tinapa in Calabar, that international market, Tinapa. All these things, billions of naira were sunk there. But because the administration came and gone, and the succeeding one refused to take off from there, and they decided to create their own, simply because they want to make their own money. Even the road constructions, you see abundant projects here and there. So these are the challenges with Nigerian democracy, and it's centered on personal interest. What we are after for is just to grab the power and nothing else. We don't have ideology.
Okay.
So what is affecting the River State is personal interest.
Personal interest. And we also see some allegations coming out. The chief of staff, the head of service came up with a video press conference to say a lot of things, and he also accused the chief of staff of being part of those that destroyed the State House of Assembly. And the chief of staff has also come out to say he was paid, he was offered 5 billion naira at the early stage to impeach Fubara, but he didn't do it because he was a member of the acting majority leader in the House there. Now you can see this accusation, counter accusations from both sides. Do you think with this there's an end to the problem of Rivers?
Actually, you see, the head of service is accomplice to the hallucination. So what he is doing is like medicine after death. Medicine after death in the sense that you were asked to go and demolish the House of Assembly, and you partake in demolishing the House of Assembly. That means most of the evil associated around the River State, you were part of it, if truly the allegations were right. But now look at the analysis of the counter allegation by the chief of staff. The head of service is not part of the executive council.
Yes.
And if you critically look at the fight, it does not concern the civil servants of the state.
It has nothing to do.
And I don't think there will be any strategy that will be mounted by Fubara, which may include the head of service, if you critically look at it, because it does not concern his office. These are issues that are purely political. If it were the chief of staff that is making this allegation, there is no way Fubara will escape it. But now, being a member of not the member of executive council, and the chief of staff has categorically said it, that before they meet with the head of service, the service chiefs and the security agencies within the state must be aware of it. It must be formal. So whatever they do that is not formal, that is none of our business. And if they are to be accused, he will be part of it, because he is an accomplice to the hallucination.
Yes.
And even the promoter of the jaundice, because why is he coming out to say it now? Is it because he has been relieved of his duty? So that is to say, well, had it been he is not relieved of his duty, he will continue in the act.
But the chief of staff too can be said that why is he just talking about claims that they offer 5 billion? Why didn't he raise the alarm?
That is the issue.
The chief of staff too, who is a political this thing, also said he was offered 5 billion to facilitate Fubara's impeachment. I was expecting also to call names who offered you 5 billion to. So you can see that politicians, they have a way of just. At the end of the day, don't be surprised. In 2 weeks' time or in 3 months' time, they will come together and change the story.
That is one thing I refuse to, even on social media, to side with any of them. Because Nigerian politicians can fail you. It's like a boy and girlfriend. You may take side with one of them. Tomorrow you see them together. And they may tell each other what you have told them in the absence of the other person. So that is why I don't want to take side in the issue of Wike and what have you. Small thing now, they will go and drink their kind of gogoro and settle their matter.
40-year-old
yes, at the end of the day, you will be at the this thing. So I look at it as, since it is a game of interest, one day they will sort it out. But my concern is the Rivers people, the development of Rivers, and how now imagine the administrator. He may siphon all the finances of that state. Nothing will happen, because it is not his duty for any infrastructural development. He's not coming back to contest for anything. He's only there to manage the resources, pending on when the issue will be off. Now he's at liberty to. No,
but there are structures on ground to ensure accountability, and I think that is what Rivers people should do, to ensure that if he's not accountable now, when he leaves, he will be accountable.
But is it proper that a sitting governor with his immunity be set aside in a democratic setting?
Yes, when there's a need for, that's why there's this doctrine of necessity. For security reasons, it could be suspended. There's precedent, Governor.
But if you critically look at the matter, you discover that, yes, when the Supreme Court passed the judgment, Fubara, to some extent, complied. He even wrote to the House of Assembly wanting to go and present his own budget, but unfortunately, the House was locked up.
Unfortunately, there was no House of Assembly any longer. It was destroyed by him.
No,
they were sitting in a quarters, not in the House of Assembly.
But since there was an agreement that they should...
It is also good. The agreement is not legally binding on anyone. I think those that advised Fubara to destroy that State House of Assembly,
they really made
a business. They put him in a situation whereby, they say someone wants to kill, someone wants to set fire on you. You now use petrol as a body lotion. That is what he did by that. And I think that was a tactical mistake he made. And that is what is being used against him.
You see, I always tell my friends that Fubara is a woman in the fight, simply because he failed to take responsibility as the governor.
Action as a governor.
As the governor, I wonder how will my House of Assembly go and make any sitting against me in the state.
Anyway, when
I am the chief security officer
of the state.
When I know out of the 4 members of the House of Assembly, I can mastermind one of them to take away the staff. I will leave the House of Assembly for you, only that the sitting will not be.
Yeah, but there's no need
to disrupt the sitting. Moreover, these people you are seeing, they are after their personal interests.
Yes.
While you sustain the fight, you use some of the members to your side.
Definitely.
You have the resources of the state with you. Yes, we know Wike is the FCT minister. He may be financing them.
No, but you can't compare the finances of FCT with Rivers.
Yes, you use the state resources, recruit them to your side. This is politics. You recruit them to your side. When you have an ample number, that is all. You forget about the speaker and continue.
Well,
yeah, this thing. You must be political in some things. Not everything you will take a fight. Demolishing the house is too bad, because it is Rivers State resources that was used in building the house. And the excuse he gave in demolishing the building is too, it's not even something that they will demolish the house, for goodness sake. You went ahead and demolished a building simply because you're running away from impeachment, which is wrong. And that is where the mistake started. And this is where we are.
Thank you very much, my brother. And we've come to the top of the hour. We'll go for a short break, and when we come back, I think we will have our calls begin to come in. We'll open the line. So our viewer out there know that we're going for a short break, and when we come back, the number to call will be displayed on the screen, and you can call in to comment on what we're discussing. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Attention Taraba, here is a public service announcement to all youth groups and organizations in Taraba State. The Senior Special Assistant to the Governor of Taraba State on Youth Affairs, in collaboration with the Special Advisor, Youth Empowerment and the National Youth Council of Nigeria, Taraba State Chapter, invites all youth groups in the state to register for Taraba State Youth Transformation Initiative. Registration is free. The Taraba Youth Transformation Initiative is strategically designed to identify and equip youth groups with skills to enhance youth development. Registration will take place in all the 168 political wards in Taraba State. Registration starts 31st of March 2025. Venue: all local government secretariats across the state. Don't miss out. Register your youth groups today and take a step towards unlocking your full potentials. Join us and let's build a brighter future for Taraba youths. Ambassador Emmanuel George, JP, SSA, Youth Affairs, Announcer.
No matter how long you live, you cannot learn it all. You can only do your best because you know go feed you all. So if you want to criticize...
Welcome back to today's Politics on Some TV. We've been having discussions on the unfortunate killing in Uromi, and also the Rivers, the political breedlaw in Rivers. And I'm Abraham Minor Judah, and I will make the studio Miss Comrade Ezekiel Augustine Amangabdo, who is a National President Mumuye Youth, Coordinator of Northern Taraba Youth Forum, and the first democratically elected SUG President of Taraba State University. He's also an activist, a political analyst, a social crusader, a lecturer with the Department of English and Literary Studies at Taraba State University, Jalingo, and is currently a PhD student with the University of Abuja. So once again, thank you for your insightful thoughts and analysis on the subjects that we discuss. So as we go into this segment, a number will be displayed on the screen. So it's a community and it's a conversation among it's a conversation that you can join in. So please, the number will be displayed on the screen, and you can begin to call in to join, to be part of the conversation. But remember that if you're calling in, you should ensure that you step away from where the TV is, or you turn down the volume of your TV set, so that we can have a very good reception and it doesn't create unnecessary echo. So the number to call is 0704-919-8503. I repeat, 0704-919-8503. Your calls can begin to comment. So as we were saying, we were going towards the direction of you being a student leader, an activist, and you've also now you are a lecturer, you have this opportunity to relate with the young people because you lecture them. You've led young people in the past. You are lecturing young people. You are also leading young people at the community level and also politically. So what do you think you can do to ensure that the next generation of Nigeria, you said something about new ideology. What role will you play to ensure that this next generation of Nigerians don't live the way we live?
Honestly, we are working hard, but the challenge is the crop of Nigerian youth we have now. If you look at their activities, you discover that the future is facing a lot of danger because most of them, they don't value ideology the way I said, but they always look at what to eat. If you critically look at most of the graduates we have in Jalingo today, they are Facebook hypers of the politicians. They don't look at the future and the ideology of what we are to do or what we are supposed to do. All they want is what they can get today. And we are trying our best to see how we could change that mentality from them. And as a leader, we always try to tread on the path of truth. Because most often these days, if you abide by the truth, most often you have problem. When you try to speak the truth, that is why sometimes you see somebody, a youth, playing the music of, maybe playing music of high life, dancing reggae. Simply because he wants to get what he wants. And his concern is what he will achieve at that moment without looking at the ideology. Look at Taraba State now. The governor is trying with the youth inclusiveness. Yes, we know. But if you look at it, you know that it is like giving us a roasted fish. What we're supposed to base on is human and capital development. Because what if another government comes in and is not having the youth at heart? What will happen? So the government has ignited fire by slashing the school fees at the higher institution by 50%, by making a free education. Now we have a massive influx of students into the schools. And we have over 7 degree awarding institutions in Taraba State where over 2,000 students are graduated each annually by these institutions. If you put it together, that means Taraba State is graduating over 14,000 students annually. Before the end of 8 years of Governor Kefas, we may be having 140,000 graduates that will be swimming into the labor market in search of job. And when there is no job, there will be problem because an ideal mind is a devil workshop. So what I think we should be doing now to combat this future challenge is to resort into human and capital development. And thank God His Excellency has recently established the Youth Development Commission. I think that commission will handle that matter if properly taken.
Okay, that is a good one that we need to begin to develop. Human capacity development is very, very important. So in your role as what is the role of the president of a cultural association youth? What role do you play?
Yes, the association is for preservation of culture, promoting and preservation of culture. But for now, when you talk about culture, it is the entire way of life. Sometimes people will say your work is just a cultural work. In culture, we have the histo-cultural, we have the histo-political, and we have the main culture itself. So when you are talking about the culture, you're talking about the way of life of the people, which encompasses the politics and what have you. So our role is to preserve our culture, one, and to reintegrate our people into the modern society so that it will merge with the culture we're having. To educate them on the need for us to what? Embrace our culture.
Okay. But how do you balance civilization and culture? Does culture change with time or culture remains the way it is?
Yeah, everything is subject to change. Culture can change, especially when it got in contact with other culture through inculturing some of the activities of other culture. That is why we call for cultural emblem. So so that you can reserve some of these things. If not, they will go into extinction. If you critically look at some of the cultural activities done in some decades ago, they are not they are longer there in our 21st century. So what we try to do is to see how we will move them into the digital age, so that our children will come and see them. Even if we are not practicing them, they can learn from that. We equally encourage our people to at least have one or two things that will showcase your culture. Your culture is your pride. One thing is the Englishman did to an African man is he made him to understand that his culture is barbaric. Some of these our natural endowments here, after deceiving us that they are barbaric, they stole them and went and re-innovated them, and in turn they're selling it to us.
But now that we know, can't we also do the same thing?
Yes, that is why we encourage some of these things. If you critically look at most of this artwork and what have you, you discover even a common man in the village can do them, only that they are not developed to the standard of that it will fetch money. But when you encourage that, you develop them, that one too will develop their local economy. Not only their local economy, it will create job. Aside creating job, it will equally boost their economy and preserve the culture.
Now, I want to ask, by trying to preserve culture, does it mean that civilization can be used to preserve culture? Let me give you an example. In this part of the country, we have a drink called kunu.
Yes.
Kunu has been the way it has been prepared since days immemorial, except maybe one or two additions. And I'm surprised that to date, we've not been able to find a way to preserve kunu beyond the fermentation stage.
That is the laxity of the Africans. You know, we use our brain to eat. We don't use our brain to recreate things. I remember this, if you look around, you see a fridge attached to AC, yes, and all these things. So somebody was repairing it. Every